When you have a YouTube channel or you're in business of any sort, it's always tempting to always be right, but that doesn't do me or anyone else any good. So we've got this 65, as you can see, modded. It's got a added post-phase inverter master volume I did not do, and a variable negative feedback I did not do. And these reverb wires were redone by someone else. I inherited this amp in a stage of modding, and then I did some other tweaks to our mine. But the other day, this came in and had a white noise issue, and I cleaned the tube sockets, seemed to go away. Did that playing video you could see I did Sunday with it, the 65 Pro Reverb, and then I left it on for about 3-4 hours after that. Played it a few more times, never had an issue. Powered it off, back on, thermal cycled, no issue. Owner gets it, makes white noise. Let's power it on. I'm not doing any pretense for the camera. I've not heard it. I've not turned it on. Just took it out of the cab, hooked it up on the bench. Let's power it on. See what we hear. So I've got the volumes off and the reverb all the way down. The amp should be nearly silent. Lo and behold, white noise. Well, it's a little bit that time. Got an issue with the normaling on this jack that wasn't there the other day. That's a matter of cleaning. I'm looking at that normal on this jack over here. Yeah, it's just cleaning. But that white noise was there at startup and then went away. The amp's not as quiet as I'd like, but I'm not getting that rushing water noise that he was getting. So let's see if there's any bad solder joints throughout. And I'm just going to manipulate every one that I can. And if this is boring, watch someone else. There are a lot of channels on this thing. I'm not here as entertainment. But if you want to know what life is really like doing this, all the things we run into, I think it's pretty cool. So no problems with these three. I realize I'm off camera. I'm not going to move the camera for this. I'm just manipulating this stuff at the power tube sockets. All right, all that seems good. Let's see if we have any hidden bad grounds. Aside from having the original unshielded wires from the jacks and volumes to the grids, because it's a 65 and that's how they were done, I'm not seeing any issues. Normally, if an amp's got bad white noise, it always has it. And if there's a connection issue, poking and prodding every single wire in the amp like this should reveal something. The only thing I found so far is that this jack isn't as clean as I'd like. Let me wiggle the hell out of all the tubes. I can do this without disturbing the tripod. Huh. It's hard to fix something when it won't admit that it's wrong, that anything's wrong with it. Now the other day, in addition to cleaning the tube sockets, I was measuring the board for DC at all these points like this and here where it's common to have leakage, and there was no leakage. A little bit of stuff on that treble pot. Clean that. That buzz is proximity of my hand to everything. That's just a normal thing that Fenders do. Let me clean that jack contact that's acting up a little bit. Now that shouldn't be the cause of white noise. If anything went wrong there, we'd have either that big hum or there'd be noise like you get from the reverb with nothing really connected. Suppose it's possible that one of the 68Ks on this jack is having midlife crisis. But it doesn't seem to be. I'm wondering if there's any relation between all these wires up here and the which I really would have run away from the heaters if I were doing this, but their common mode cancellation should help. Anyway, I'm talking about a whole bunch of stuff. I wonder if there's any relation to that and the screen that's on the inside of the cabinet when it's in place. Let me grab I've got a Marshall thing around here. Let me grab that real quick. Let's slide this in place. In theory, this would make an amp quieter, but I've had some weird things happen with grounds. No? Definitely quieter with it in place. Let me poke it around in some of the power stuff. It's got an original standby switch. A lot of changed stuff down at this end of things. Now, what is that ground switch doing? Huh. That's not my wiring. Oh, I see. Nasty, nasty thing. Someone put in a triode pentode mode on the output. Let's keep that in pentode. Triode mode sucks. I'll move the wires on the power transformer. I know you're not seeing this. Move this stuff on the bias board. This is really weird. Let me hook up a reverb tank to it. I know that in theory I'm supposed to be able to just wave a magic wand and know what's wrong with amps. But this one is giving all the symptoms of being quite fine, and it sounded quite good in that video the other day. Reverb's not quite as quiet as I might like, but it's not too bad. Some of the only original resistors in the preamp are these for the reverb driver and the trim. Okay, that's interesting. That should not have made that sound. I bet that's it. Yeah, there it is. Bad solder joint at that cathode. Well, let's fix that on camera, shall we? This has got a small amount of solder already in there, so let's make it pretty. I find it interesting that it did not make that noise when I was directly manipulating this ground or anything on the board right here. I'm going to pause this. I'm going to do one of my domed things, but you know, a girl's got to have her secrets. Okay, let's power it back on. And I'll be sure to triple check all the others. Imagine what's happened is since the last time this amp had service, that board flexed a bit more. So let me turn the reverb up. I'm sorry, the level up. All right, the amp's making sound again. Now let's manipulate that area. And just to be sure, I'm going to manipulate every solder joint, even the ones that look okay. This resistor bypass cap here and here are not my work. You can see where it's J-hooked to an old lead. But this wasn't about making it as beautiful as possible. This was about getting my buddy up and running, making it reliable. And now it is that much more. So I'm going to let this run. I'm going to power this off and let it totally cool down and do some thermal cycles, or let it run for a few hours, just to make sure there's no behavior that I missed. I hate when I miss things. I don't get a lot of returns. I get some. Sometimes I miss things. Sometimes I'll fix problem X, which then reveals problem Y. Say you recap an amp and the plate voltage goes from 320 to 350 because the caps are good. After a while, a resistor that was just barely hanging on at the lower voltage says, I just can't do this voltage drop anymore. It happens. I do 90 days, no question asked. And if I do a whole lot of work on an amp, you know, if it's something I missed or something related, I give reduced rates on down the line. I try to take care of people and try to return their faith in me for having me do major work. This was not an amp I did major work on. This was preamp tweaks. But that board flex got us. And it's nice to catch that corrosion on the input jack too. I feel better. I can go have dinner now.